Well, I was watching YouTube last night and I found this concert of Marc Bolan of T-Rex, and I was watching it, and he was playing electric guitar with a full band and everything. And the next minute he gets rid of the band, he adjusts his microphone down onto the ground and he sits on the floor, decides he's going to play an acoustic number. And this is how he started. He started off sitting on the floor playing acoustic guitar, and I can remember how I discovered Tyrannosaurus Rex, Marc Bolan Tyrannosaurus Rex, because it was the 1960s. It would have been 1967, and I was a teenager at this time. I was about 12, and the song that he played, it's that song that goes, I've been dancing since I was 12. I've been dancing since I was 12. I've been dancing since I was 12. And I was about 12 when I discovered this guy, because we just used to listen to Top of the Pops, and he wasn't on Top of the Pops. Never heard of this bunch, Tyrannosaurus Rex. They were probably on TV maybe once, if they were lucky. And there was a bird. And what we used to do is we used to go down the record shop and we'd look through the records. And generally we'd be looking for albums, but they also used to sell 7 singles. Yeah, and sometimes you could find, old 7 singles by people like Them, Van Morrison's Them and stuff like that, that didn't sell, and so they were cheap. Yeah, they used to offer these things for 10 pence, 10 pence for a 7 single, and you could afford, if you spent a pound, you could get 10 of them. And so I remember going through all the 7 singles after I'd been through all the albums, go through all the 7 singles, and I came across this band, Tyrannosaurus Rex. I said, wow, they must be amazing. And they had loads of them. They must have decided to promote this band, pressed all these 7 singles, and then never sold any because they didn't promote it and nobody knew who they were. Yeah. And so they had all these 7 singles, about 5 or 6 of them, maybe 5. And so I got all 5 of them for £1. And I took them home, this bundle of 7 singles by Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I stuck them on the turntable, and man oh man, the most incredible thing you ever heard in your life just popped out the speakers, and I was hooked, I was absolutely hooked. And I think this was the same for anybody who actually discovered Tyrannosaurus Rex in the early days, because they were just like nothing else. They were unbelievable and so gifted songwriter, and so gifted, not copying anybody, just absolutely unlike anything else, just not comparable in any way, to any shape or form, to anything that was being done at that time. Yeah. So it was interesting to watch Marc Bolan, what happened to Marc Bolan, because he became famous, of course, and people used to deride his style, and thought he was a pop icon. But he was a great troubadour, that's what he was. He was a great troubadour. And to do what he did, to play electric guitar like he did, was the same as what Jimi Hendrix did. It was just Jimi Hendrix and a bass player and a drummer. And that's basically all that T-Rex was, yeah. And without Marc's guitar playing, there was nothing happening on stage. Yeah? Without his singing, there's nothing happening. And so he had to create the entire thing. And what he was, if it was only you on guitar, you've got very little opportunity to do anything easily. You've got to actually cover the whole song. And so you've got to be good. And Marc Bolan was a good guitarist. He played guitar for a long time before he stepped on stage with electric guitar. He paid his dues, you know. And so a lot of people disparage his guitar playing, but you could see how much better it got a few years later. And when the people stopped liking his music, because I feel that that's why they stopped liking it, because he was actually starting to get it right. And in the early days, he was just, you know, he couldn't play everything perfectly. He almost attained perfection, but you know, his job he was doing was just too big, and you know, for the amount of practice, just a young man, for the amount of practice he'd had at it, he was just still developing it, you know. So I take my hat off when I watch Marc Bolan play live. I take my hat off to what he used to do, and the lack of fear in him. That was the same with Jimi Hendrix. The lack of fear in these people to actually go out and just do whatever they did. When Jimi Hendrix used to wear these clothes that nobody was wearing at the time. He started that. He started to wear these unusual clothes, yeah. And he just said, "That's who I am. I'm just going to be who I am. I'm not going to try to be anything that I'm not. I'm just going to be who I am." Okay. Now let's get back to this song, okay? Because the song, I heard different lyrics to what the song's lyrics actually are. I heard different lyrics, yeah. I heard different lyrics. I dance myself right off the world. I dance myself right off the world. I'm going to stop now because I don't seem to be able to do it properly. I dance myself right off the world. Now that's not what he actually says in the song. He says, "I dance myself right out the womb." That's what they say he says. But I heard, "I dance myself right out the world." That's a great line. I'll just take 5. Myself right out the world. I dance myself right out the world. Is it wrong to understand the fear that lives inside a man? Is it wrong to understand the fear that lives inside a man? This song is like the overview of the overview. Where do these lyrics come from, yeah? And when he's singing these lyrics, it's not him singing it. What happens is the listener is hearing the lyrics. So it's the voice inside the listener which is speaking. So the voice inside the listener, inside me, is saying, "I dance myself right off the world." It's me who's dancing myself off the world, not Marc Bolan, you understand? When the lyrics are written, they're written for the listener, not for the singer. It's important to understand this. It says, "Is it wrong to understand the fear that lives inside a man?" You know, it's posing a question to the listener, not the singer. Yeah. The singer is also the listener. Okay. So who are we? Who are we? Yeah? Who are we? Who are we? Right? Because at the Temple of Delphi, the greatest temple mankind ever built, written on the front of it was the words, "Know thyself." Know thyself. Know who you are, right? Okay. Understand Is it wrong to understand the fear that lives inside a man? That's what the Temple of Delphi is asking us all to do. Yeah? Understand the fear that lives inside a man. Understand it. Once you understand it, it's gone. It's gone. And then what you've done is I dance myself right off the world. I dance myself right off the world. Is it wrong to understand the fear that lives inside a man? These chord changes have never been played before in human history. Never, never. This is brand new, yeah? Brand new. You don't have G and E minor together with F and E minor repeating. They're close together and they do make sense musically. But they're not in the same key. But they fit together absolutely wonderfully in this special movement, yeah? Special movement that kind of takes you from one world into another. Marc Bolan was a genius. He didn't look for novel ways to make complicated things. He found very, very simple, beautiful things. That's what Marc Bolan did. Marc Bolan was a beautiful human being. I'll take 5. Now, don't you all want to be beautiful human beings, just like Marc Bolan? Where you can sit down on the floor on the stage and deliver a song like that, sitting on the floor, without feeling any lack of confidence, yeah, any self-consciousness, okay? To be able to sit in front of a camera and do and say anything. To be able to do that, you have to know yourself and you have to understand the fear inside a man, yeah? And in that moment, there is a moment in your life where you transcend that fear and dance yourself right out the world. There's a moment in every man's life, a moment when that happens to anybody who has entered that pathway and become a troubadour. Yeah? And you all have to learn to play guitar like Marc Bolan, you know. I dance myself right out the world. You've all got to be able to do that, yeah? All of you. It's a universal pathway. Okay. And to be able to tune your guitar without a tuner also. You never had a tuner. How did they ever get to play together? They didn't have tuners back then. They had to be able to play and tune the guitar, and you know that was something that determined the men from the boys. Yeah, if you couldn't tune your guitar, that was it. Yeah, and so it's cheating really what they do in the music industry now, which is just to make boys into famous musicians who can't tune a guitar. I don't know, and Jimi Hendrix used to take a Fender Stratocaster on stage with a whammy bar, and everybody knows that when you push that whammy bar, the thing goes out of tune. Yeah, and Jimi Hendrix would play, and he'd put it out of tune, and he'd tune it all at the same time as like holding the whole thing together. Have you any idea what's involved in that? Any idea of the absolute mastery involved in what Jimi Hendrix used to do? Without a tuner, I don't know where to start with you lot. I don't know where to start. Now, I'm a person who can never play guitar. It's taken me like my whole life to get anywhere on the guitar. And if one is not meant to be a musician, I was not meant to be a musician, but it's necessary that everybody studies music. It's something that allows one to understand oneself better. And so it's a required course that everybody who is on this journey of life needs to learn music. Yeah. A philosopher is somebody who knows themselves. Yeah. Okay. I take 5. Now, the greatest philosopher of the modern age is a gentleman by the name of Jiddu Krishnamurti with a K. Krishnamurti, Krishnamurti. Okay. Now, the internet, YouTube, is full of videos, and his books are available. He wrote many things. Everything that he spoke was recorded. A lot of it was recorded. And so you can listen to Krishnamurti's talks and dialogues for hours and hours. And everything he has to say is important. And when I danced myself right out the world, I, as part of what I was doing, was studying Krishnamurti. So Krishnamurti helped me understand myself and what the fear actually was. Yet it's interesting that Krishnamurti did not understand why people couldn't dance themselves out the world. And so, because I stand on Krishnamurti's shoulders, I learned what Krishnamurti knew by listening to him. I could make extra discoveries, and I know why people can't dance themselves out of the world. Because they're not good enough. It's that simple. And God will not allow you to dance yourself out of the world unless you're good enough, because there's a reason why everybody is in the world, stuck in the world, in fear, because that's what the world is. What happens is, if you misbehave yourself in this world, God puts a division between you and reality, divides you into a special little thing inside your head, and you become somebody inside your head, inside your own head. You think you are somebody. Yeah? It's a paradox really, because you have to think you are somebody to concentrate yourself on your problem, which is inside yourself. No longer is a problem outside in the world. If you think you are something, if you think you have to become something more than what you are, yeah, and you have lost the understanding that God made you perfect, He created you perfect, and now you want to be more than what you are. Can you see the mistake involved in that? Okay, so God is the law that runs the whole planet, right? That's the law of God. He's operating continuously. And if you're breaking the law, God is going to put you down inside your own brain and make you fearful of yourself, of what's going to happen to yourself, of standing on stage and talking, of everything. You're going to be fearful of everything. You're going to be nothing but fear. Because what you made yourself has to change. You cannot be God. You cannot make yourself better than what you are. God made you perfect. Perfect. And you have to accept that perfection, okay? Accept it and not try to be anything. And if you accept that perfection of who you are and decide that you're not going to be trying to be something other than what you are, God will give you back yourself, your real self, and you'll find yourself dancing right out the world. I dance myself right out the world. I dance myself right out the world. What's it like to be a girl who dances herself right out the world? Yeah, he actually sings What's It Like to Be a Loon. Well, I heard What's It Like to Be a Girl for some reason, because he's singing that song to all those girls dancing in the audience. Yeah, what a wonderful lyric for them to hear. What's it like to be a girl dancing themselves out of the world? Wonderful stuff. Yeah, wonderful stuff. They loved him. You know, they loved Marc Bolan like they loved the Beatles. Like people like all the people who dance themselves out of the world. People love them because they are what a human being is supposed to be. They are it. And what they've done is they've discovered true humility, to not think you are something, to not try to become something, to be satisfied with what you are. Yeah, that's all it is really. And if God sees that you are satisfied with what you are, it won't be you dance yourself out the world. You don't dance yourself out the world. You can't do that. God will dissolve the world into reality in front of your very eyes. You will look through the veil and see, my God, reality. I've never seen it before. This first time. And reality is so much better than the dark world that we all live in, okay? Or used to live in. Now, for me, it's 25 years ago that I danced myself out of the world. I didn't dance myself out of the world when I was 12. Marc Bolan probably danced himself out of the world when he was 12. That's what he sang. He sang, I danced without the world when I was 12. Yeah. He said, I danced myself right out the womb. He danced himself out of the womb, even Marc Bolan. It's probably true, you know. I don't know what Marc Bolan was like when he was a child. Some people are just born to know themselves, to know themselves. And another man like Marc Bolan was his twin, really, twin brother, was David Bowie. And David Bowie and Marc Bolan used to busk on the streets of London before they were famous. You know? And Marc Bolan became famous before David Bowie, you know. And the final act that happened to Marc Bolan before he died was he fell off the stage. He fell off the stage, and on that stage, he fell off the stage introducing David Bowie to the world on his television program. And David Bowie was left on the stage, and Marc Bolan fell off the stage, and was kind of removing himself from the picture and leaving David Bowie behind. And that's exactly what happened. I think it was the next day he died, or in that evening. And he was killed in a car crash. And he left David Bowie on the stage, on the place that he was standing in. And David Bowie took over the place of Marc Bolan in the world and became Ziggy Stardust and all that stuff, you know. He left the world to Marc Bolan. Or the other way around. Or why I said that. Well, I think I said that because Marc Bolan's still in the world, yeah. And if you watch Marc Bolan, you can see bits of Jimi Hendrix in him. And Jimi Hendrix also left the world, but after he died, the spirit of Jimi Hendrix is still available for those who worship the masters, okay? And like I'm doing, I'm worshipping Marc Bolan now, if you like. I'm giving credit where credit's due. I'm thinking about Marc Bolan and thinking what a great master he was, yeah. And that's to give credit where credit's due. And if you do that, the spirit of Marc Bolan can enter you. Nobody can play like that, you know? Nobody can play that. Nobody can do that. I dance myself right out the world. I dance myself right out the world. What's it like to be a girl who danced himself right out the world? It's Marc Bolan really coming through you. That's who it is. It's not me doing it. I can't do that. That's me. And that's what he did the same with Jimi Hendrix. He loved Jimi Hendrix, yeah. And you can hear Jimi Hendrix in his playing, yeah. You can hear it when he's doing his electric stuff. You can hear that spirit coming through him, using him as best he can as his brain is developed, as good as his brain is developed. It can only come out as well as a person's brain is developed musically, yeah. And it will come out according to those limitations, that's all. The spirit's there for anybody to take. And, you know, this is what they call going to the crossroads. They say you meet the devil when you go to the crossroads. But no, you don't. You just dance yourself out of the world and you meet God. That's what happened to Bob Dylan. And they say, and you normally do it whilst you're paying homage to some older musician. So he paid homage to Woody Guthrie, and he went and visited Woody Guthrie on his deathbed. And he came back and he could play really well. Before that he couldn't play very well, yeah. And so the spirit of Woody Guthrie was coming through him, yeah. And all those old blues players, the spirit of Robert Johnson and the spirit of Blind Willie McTell and people like that. You know, I said you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's enough. If you want to dance yourself right out the world, you need to study. Know thyself. Know the fear inside you is just something that's made of the bad parts of you. The bad parts of you, the part that wants to become something, this has to go, you know. It's got to go. You've got to become humble and stand before God and say, God, you made me. I didn't make myself. I didn't put myself on this stupid world. You look after me. You take care of me. You do take care of me. Everything that happens to me is your will. Thy will be done. Thy kingdom come. That's what Jesus said. And that's the only thing. And people misunderstand what the will of God is. The will of God isn't something written in the Bible. The will of God is what you love, what you feel like doing. And the will of God is the opposite of fear. There's no fear in the will of God. If you're fearful, you're not in the will of God. Not at all. And there can be times when you need fear, because God will put the fear into you when you're not supposed to be doing something. If you don't feel like getting up out of bed, don't, whatever you do, get up out of bed. Just stay there. That's the will of God. And if there's any fear involved, if you're getting up and going to work in fear, you're doing the wrong thing. I'm sorry, you need to know thyself. Know thyself. And study Jiddu Krishnamurti. He was specially sent to teach you guys how to step right out the world. I'm going to end up on that little song. I don't know the whole song. I've only learned a few words. I've been dancing since I was 12. I've been dancing since I was 12. myself right out the world. I dance myself right out the world. What's it like to be a man who dance himself and understands? What's it like to be a girl